Hello there, and how's it going? Welcome back to the show. Thanks for clicking on this one. My name's Pat Dan, and today we are back on Reddit Gets Drawn Badly. Today we're here with Poopy underscore Poophead. 10 days ago with a selfie. Looking quite snazzy. I'm wondering now, just judging by the name of the user, is this somebody who found this picture on the internet and is like trying to get people to draw it because they thought it was funny and looked like Walter White? That's actually my current theory. Clearly I forgot to close the last one, so you got to see a little sneak peek. Saw that one open. Fun stuff for you guys. I'm sure you're very excited. You were like, whoa, this is awesome. Because I know that's what you sound like. I've heard you in, doing your little thing before, and that's typically the voice that you have on most occasions. Sometimes you get a little crazy, you spice it up a little bit, but usually you're right there on that spectrum. Anyway, you get what I mean. I would say this guy has maybe the greatest fit of all time. Like, can we have respect the fit of this fine gentleman here for a second? Just like look at him. Like, I'm not even gonna do anything. Just sit and admire it for a second. He's got some good style on him. The guy clearly knows his way around a closet. I'll give him that much. He's clearly like seen a closet before and knows what it looks like. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. It's hard for me sometimes to give people credit, but in this particular case, the guy deserves a little bit of credit at the very least. He's clearly done some homework. He's clearly looked up, how to style for old men. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't consider himself old. I don't know if I consider him old. I think he's just wise, wise and experienced. Old is it's a harsh word with bad connotations. I don't know why it has bad connotations though, because everyone gets old. Old is not bad. Old is great. Old is bringing in a new era. Old is having lived life to its fullest and survived to this point. Old is being at the honestly, being old is like the American pinnacle of life, like theoretically, just based on the way we structure society. Old should, by all accounts, be the greatest moment that you ever experience, as being old. Like, that's when your retirement pays off finally. You can cash out the Roth IRA. You can sit pretty on your vacations and break out the retirement fund. Like, being old is when it gets crazy here in the US of A, we kind of go bonkers with it. I know I said America before, and I know that peeves people when United States folk use America to describe the entirety, or to describe just the US rather than the entirety of the continent. But I'm sorry, it's just part of our nomenclature. It's a dialect thing. I think we've changed the meaning of the word by saying it so many times. I think it's more of a language issue than it is an ideological issue. When I say the word America, I don't think that I'm like making a conscious effort to try and ignore the rest of the continent. I just think, hey, that's how I've heard people talk about it my whole life, and that's how I think it's supposed to be referred to as. Ever since a young kid, people walked up to me. They said, "Hey, you're in America." All the time people said that, and I was like, "That's a weird thing to say." Like, obviously, I know I'm in America. You didn't need to announce it, but thanks for letting me know, I guess. And I've grown up around it, and it's just something that's been adopted into my vocabulary. Not to say gonna make a conscious effort to try and phase it out, but I'm also saying, cut a guy some slack, and not just me, but like everybody. Everybody out here is doing their best, I think. I hope. Maybe actually, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but I'd like to think most of us are doing our best. So just keep that in mind, the next time you scream at somebody in the comments of a TikTok for referencing, the US of A by saying America. And just know they're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. They're not trying to say anything that potentially marginalizes certain groups. They're just trying to be a guy who speaks like the guys that they've heard speaking. Um, Anyway, that's just my hot take for the day. I typically don't dive that deep into a hot take right off the bat. Start of the video, just ripping into it. You know how it is. But this guy's crazy fit. It's brought up some past ideas that I've been wrestling with, which, revolve around the idea of style, right? Style's a huge thing. Style's a big cultural touchstone. If you're able to understand current state of style and clothing and fashion, it can prove that you're like up to date with, modern times, and it can be an indicator of your youthfulness, perhaps. I think style is a big deal, right? And for someone like me who is very lacking in the style department, right? Like, I'm not a big style forward guy, just because I typically, I shop based on necessity in the moment, and then afterwards I'm like, why'd I buy this? This is the ugliest thing ever. I wasn't thinking. I just wanted like a jacket to wear because I was cold, kind of thing. um and then it puts me in a horrible spot where I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't represent me. This doesn't represent what I think looks good. But now I have to pretend like it does, because I'm going to have to wear it every day for like the next 5 years, because I'm not going to buy new clothes. And it's like, what are you supposed to do? Here's the question that I have, okay, after this long-winded explanation, this long-winded intro. How are you supposed to change your style once you have the desire to change like, what do you do? It's so hard. Like, and for those of you who are thinking, what are you talking about? What do you mean changing your style isn't hard? Just do it. Just buy new clothes. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just stop wearing all the clothes that you've accumulated over the years and just revamp your entire wardrobe? Like, do you burn everything in your closet and then go out and splurge, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars buying an entirely new wardrobe? Hopefully not, that much money, but I'm exaggerating for the sake of a point here. What are you supposed to do? Like, what, seriously, what are you supposed to do? I don't know what I'm expected to do as a citizen of the world and a participant in fashion. Am I just supposed to live with what I've got? Am I just supposed to accept that I'll never be stylish and there's nothing I can do to change that? Or is there like a way for me? Like, is there a method to the madness? Is there a potential, way out that I can finally be seen as a cool kid while not having to just burn fabric and, destroy the planet in the process? Like, what is the move there? I don't know. Somebody out there who's smarter than me, give me an answer, because I'm fiending for one right about now. I recognize that this guy is far too red. I was trying to do something fun. I was trying to go like further in a direction than I typically would with color, because I was like, oh, this will be fun if I really push it here. Was it fun? Yeah, it was fun. But now we're here in the point where we have to clean it up and make it look believable. Is that possible? I think not. I think we've kind of stranded ourselves on a planet long unseen by humanity and undiscovered for many years, and forgotten about after it was discovered, leaving us kind of alone here to fend for ourselves, is I think the exact situation we found ourselves in, to be precise. I think we can potentially recover, though. I have faith. We don't have a whole lot of time, but I think I've seen myself work magic with, couple minutes before, and I think I can see a resurgence of the great times that I've had in my youth. I do have faith, because if I don't, no one else will. That's something I think we all need to just bring into our I don't know, life living strategy is believing in yourself when no one else will. It's a W strat. I would endorse it for sure. Anyway, I really I've had multiple times in my life when I've realized my entire closet is disgusting and something that I don't really want to wear because it gives people a false impression of the way that I see myself and the way that I want to be seen. And that's, I feel like, what fashion is. It's creating a version of yourself that you want people to judge you based off of when they see you, right? You want to create an identity that can be gleaned from the things on your body, right? It's an easy way to tell people, hey, I'm a chill guy, or hey, don't talk to me, or hey, I'm like, I don't know, a pirate, that's why I got this eye patch on, kind of thing, where like it's communication without direct communication. It's like that kind of vibe. I think fashion's beautiful in that sense, but also frightening. Like, how am I supposed to commit to that is like really a question that I have. And at what point do I say in my adulthood, this is what I'm going to wear for the rest of my life? Because it seems like adults at some point make that choice, right? They're like, okay, I've settled in. This is what I'm going to wear for the rest of my, or is it just an unconscious, like, okay, well, I've worn this for a long time and I'm now an adult, have a job, family, kids, I don't have the time to go, splurging on clothes, the time nor the resources. Is that like the sad reality of things where you just settle? I don't want to be a settler. I don't want to be a settler like a pilgrim, stumbling upon the great continent of America. I want to be like an establishing figure who changes with the times and is fashionable for the rest of my life and never falls out of the cultural zeitgeist. That's who I want to be. I don't know if there's anyone who's ever been like that, but I think I could be the first. I think I could change the history books. I'm not necessarily the worst person to do it. I've got a certain set of skills, much like Liam Neeson. I don't actually know what movie that's, what? Here's a crazy, crazy thing. I don't know what movie that's from. Is it Taken? I think it's a movie called Taken. I think I know that because I've heard people say it. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen the clip so many times that I recognize it, just because of the like amount of times I've seen it, that I recognize it as like a cultural moment. And I've thought about this before. This is insane. Think about how many kids, like how many Gen Zers know about things that they've seen in like YouTube edits, like clips that they've seen in YouTube edits, right? Things that they've seen, that they've heard quoted so many times, that other people are quoting because it's from something that they recognize as like a moment that they were a part of. But these Gen Zers, they're just saying it, repeating it because they're like, oh, this is like a thing now, right? Isn't that so crazy? Like I came to this realization when I saw a He-Man, I Have the Power clip, and I was like, I know this clip, right? Like I've seen this clip so many times. Every single YouTube edit has this clip in it. But why do I know that? Like I shouldn't know this clip. I wasn't part of this cultural moment. I never watched He-Man. I've never seen a single episode of it. And yet I know this iconic clip that people older than me constantly reference and constantly say. And like now I'm not going to say that I haven't referenced it. I've probably referenced it at some point because I've heard it so many times that I'm just like, oh, this is a thing people say. If I want to be cool, if I want to be with it, I got to say it with them, or else I'm going to look like an idiot. And who wants to look like an idiot? It's a very, very interesting thing to think about. Very, very interesting. I feel like this is it's a topic of Hank Green, or is it Hank? It's Hank Green, right? Hank Green's the one who makes the YouTube videos. One of the Green brothers makes the YouTube videos, right? The science one. Who's the science one? I think it's Hank. John Green is just like some guy. Hank is like the main one, right? I've never actually watched any of their videos together. I've only ever watched the videos where Hank Green's like talking to modern internet personalities and saying, hey, this is actually how the human body works. If you didn't know, people actually have like 6 glands in their mouths that allow them to produce saliva. And each one of them activates independently of what, like crazy stuff where I'm like, I didn't really think about this ever. But now that you're saying it, I'm interested. You caught my interest somehow. I don't know how, like I don't know why. It doesn't really make any sense because it's not something I would have ever thought about or ever thought to be interested in. But now that you mention it, I do kind of want to know. I do kind of want to know, how do elephants procreate? Like crazy stuff like that, where I'm just like, okay, you got me. I watched a Ludwig X Hank Green collab fairly recently, I guess, and and one of the things that was discussed was like, uh, they were talking about like, will a laptop on your lap kill your fertility or something, and it kind of snowballed into a whole testicle conversation. One of the things I learned from Hank Green, which I think I'll probably never forget, just because it's such a weird fact and a weird place to learn it, that it's gonna like stick in my mind. I learned that, you have, if you have testicles, then you have a muscle down there that like contracts and uncontracts. What's the opposite of contraction? Someone out there knows. Like it contracts when it's warm, or when it's cold. Sorry, I know this. I swear I know this. I swear that I also too have this muscle. I swear I'm not faking. I'm not a larper. but but it like retracts and then goes out based on the temperature, because for optimal like production in there, it needs like a cooler temperature than the body. So that's actually like the coldest part down there. Like everything else is warm, but then that's cold because it has to stay away from the body so that it can have optimal production temperature. You guys ever know that? You guys ever see that Hank Green um clip with Ludwig, or no, nobody? All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Always got my back. Always sticking up for me. Yeah, cool guys. You guys are really cool guys. Okay, here's an issue. This is a mustache that is going to stick out from the rest of the face in a crazy way, but I think it's necessary for Walter. Walter. I don't know why I said it like that. I was trying to do what's that guy's name? You know the guy I was trying to do. You know the guy I was trying to do. The guy who people do funny impressions of from Breaking Bad. I've seen Breaking Bad and I don't even know his name. I mean, I haven't seen it in a hot minute. He's another bald guy, pretty wrinkly. He's not Hank Schrader, but he is someone who works with Gus. I paused there because I was gonna try and salvage it and say the name, but I couldn't think of the name and I failed myself as much as I failed you. So just know I'm disappointed as much as you are right now with my performance there. So many people on Reddit Gets Drawn Badly have glasses. Like, what's the deal with all the frames? I don't know how I'm supposed to like tackle this, because I'm not someone who's ever been good at drawing glasses, and glasses provide a certain challenge that is very, very, I don't know, it's very different to everything else that I have to do on these portraits. And I have to like make it overlay, and then the idea of doing lenses is like, where do I even start with a lens? And it presents a crazy challenge that's unnecessary. Can people just take off their glasses before they take a photo? Like, who wants to be seen in a photo with their glasses? Is that not embarrassing? As glasses users out there, do you not find yourself embarrassed when you have to take a photograph with your glasses on? Are you not like, this proves that I have bad vision and am potentially getting old and may not be able to see very soon, and may, be less adequate at vision than other people? Like, does that not make you feel bad? I feel like it would make me feel bad. Like, whenever I can't see something that other people can see, I'm like, yo, I'm a loser. Like, I've been staring at that dang computer screen too long. I'm getting bad eyes. I'm going crazy from it. Nobody? All right, cool. glad we could level on that. Glad we could come to a decision as a unit, as a group. Really glad that happened for us. Really, really just ecstatic. You love to see it. You really do. How am I going to salvage this? It's like really in a place that I have no idea what it wants from me. And I say this a lot. I feel like every time I'm like, this is horrible. This is the worst thing ever. But if you're an artist, like if you've ever made anything ever, I think most of the world, honestly, I would consider to be artists. Like 99% of the population, I would say they're artists. Because everyone's like made something before, right? Everyone's an artist in their own right. I think if you've ever made something, like 99% of the population, you know the feeling where you're like, this sucks. Like no matter what you make, it's just this sucks for a long period of time. And then maybe once you're like well beyond the creation of it, you can be like, okay, actually, maybe I was tripping out. Like maybe I don't know why I said it with that inflection. Maybe I was tripping out. Maybe, maybe that was like wrong of me to say, and maybe this is actually a banger and like my magnum opus. I wonder like how it must have felt to be like Leonardo da Vinci working on one piece that you get commissioned for by like the government for like 20 years of your life, and then just having to like stop at some point. Like, what is that like? Do you ever feel like it's done? Do you ever feel like, hey, I've reached a stopping point? Or do you just have to be like, okay, they have stopped paying me and I need to eat today. Like, I do not have money to eat today. Do I give up on this piece and move on? Like, is that just where it ends for Leonardo, for the big L, as I call him? Actually, I don't think they were really struggling for money back then. I think the artists were making top dollar. If I know my historical facts, which I don't think I do, but in this case, being a Leonardo da Vinci super fan, I'm not. I know nothing about him. I do think he was making top dollar back in the day. Because, to be an artist, to get the skills that are required to be an artist requires a very, very privileged lifestyle. Like, you have to have time to practice and not be just like working and like pouring time into your craft instead of, making money and getting food for your family. Like, you have to be privileged at a certain level to be able to do that. So, it's a rare commodity back in the day. I'm giving you guys a little history lesson here. History lesson from someone who like failed their art history class. You're welcome. I'll be here all night. Anytime you need some history help, let me know. Maybe history might be one of the worst possible things you could ask me for help on, but I'll try anyway. I'm not averse to a little attempt. I do make attempts on occasion from time to time, I have been known to do so. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? By the way, obviously this is being recorded in advance. Like, that's the issue with batch recording all these and scheduling them, is that like when I talk about current events, it's like, oh, that was years ago. What is he yapping about? But just know this is current as of time I'm recording it. I've been seeing, so I follow this one TikToker who's like a book talker, formerly a book talker, now just kind of a whatever talker. And I never followed for the books. And I don't even actually follow. I just watch YouTube Shorts a lot. And so YouTube Shorts suggests me this person's videos all the time. I think her name is Cassie Books or something like that. If you know her, then you'll recognize what I'm talking about, hopefully. But she's recently been doing a lot of videos talking about the hantavirus. And I didn't realize like how much pain and suffering the thought of the COVID-19 pandemic gives me. But she's been making like joking videos of like, we're going back into lockdown, like it's all over, we're going back, renegade again. And it's like actually making me like feel as though I'm a soldier who lost like 6 appendages in the heat of battle, and being reminded by the sound of someone dropping a glass mug in a diner and it's like brought me to a breakdown. Like that's the equivalent of how I feel. I would say almost exactly. And I can say that with full certainty, with no disrespect to the soldiers out there. You know, you guys are doing great work, but like this is worse than anything you guys have ever encountered. I can guarantee. It's like it's really scary to think about another pandemic potentially happening, which it's not going to happen. Like the hantavirus is nothing like COVID, right? Like it's like a completely different disease, and it's like not the same level of I mean, at least I don't think it's the same level of what do you call it? Ability to be transferred from one person to another. You know, contagious probably is the word most people would use for that. But I don't think it could, you know, spiral to be as crazy as COVID was, as a you know, a global lockdown situation. But if it was, if the lockdown was to happen, I'd like to think I'd make more use of it this time. Last time it was more of a Minecraft centric, Among Us kind of lockdown. I feel like this time it would be more of a lock in centric lockdown. You know, that was a little play on words there. Unintentional, but still play on words. I like to get credit for, you know, the things that I say, even if I didn't mean them at the time, the way that I'm being accredited for. But you know, I deserve credit anyway. So next time I see something cool, make sure that you know, make sure you drop like a little, hey, good job, dude, in the comments. Just make sure, you know. In any case, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so very much for your time. I've been Pat Dan. You've been great. And until next time, kick rocks, pal. Have a good one. Bye bye.